I'm delighted, don't shake your head, delighted to say we've got Alliance and the Exchange in beautiful sunny Preston. Nick, tell us about it.
Yes, hello everyone. Hope you're all well. So we're going to talk a little bit. I'm going to talk a little bit about Alliance. I'm sure that some of you guys have worked with us in the past, or have heard of us, or even bought properties off us in the past. But I'm going to talk you through sort of a bit about the history of our business, and then focus on a project that we're working with Holborn on, the Exchange, which we've had good success on last year. And now the project's obviously, it completes next year. So we've got plenty of units left available in it, and it's a very good investment. And I'm going to take you through just a bit of a whistle-stop tour with regards to that. So just to talk you through a little bit about Property Alliance Group and just where we've come from as a business. So we're part of a 30-year-old developer in Manchester called Property Alliance Group. Alliance Investments is the business that I sit in. So we effectively transact all of the residential buildings that Property Alliance Group build in the UK, mainly in Manchester it tends to be, and also across sort of Birmingham and northwest of England. They also build across all real estate sectors. So you've got, they build hotels, they build office towers, they build industrial units. So that's tended to be where the history was initially. And about 6 years ago, Alliance Investments started, and the residential side of the business took off as well. And then we opened offices all across the world. So I'm based over here in the UAE. I used to be based in our Hong Kong office. We've got a Singapore operation, Shanghai, and of course, obviously our main hub in Manchester. And also,
I think, Nick, it's really important to stress this because it comes up so often, the strength of the companies that we work with at Holborn. We have to do our due diligence. And I've also got to say, by the way, at this stage, your administration team behind you are first class. So it is really good to know Alliance are strong, how big they are, because at the end of the day, we do not want any problems when it comes towards completion. And that showing the strength of Alliance is so key.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's something we learned over time. As I was just going to touch on there, where obviously as we started to complete buildings, we got our own lettings and management team, which is part of the completions process. We don't want to just sell somebody a property and then them not be able to rent it out, or not be able to furnish it or whatever. Like, so we've got all of those offerings. But yeah, I think sort of the people that don't get enough credit are the people at the back end who help with the mortgage valuations, obviously help with the clients, deal with all the solicitors. I think, Chris, you're exposed to them quite a lot. And I think we obviously, it's key for the clients and key for the advisors that process is very slick. And also it's key for us as well. We want things to be passing through without much issue. And it's something that we've become very, very strong at. And it's, I'm proud to say I'm a part of that.
Yeah, it's very, very good.
So just to take you through a bit of our success, recent residential success, I won't harbour too much on these projects because there isn't much availability, if any, in any of them, particularly the first few I go through. So Axis Tower was our flagship residential building in the centre of Manchester, just off Deansgate Locks, if you know where that is in Manchester. It's a very central M1 postcode. 172 apartments. It was a mixture of people buying for investment and obviously people living in there themselves. Alliance City, that was the first project Alliance City Living worked on. They rented out all of the apartments within that building for anyone who was obviously looking for tenants. So it was a very, very successful project. And obviously won numerous awards as well, due to its design and everything like that.
I like winning awards, Nick.
Yes, I heard you won one actually.
I told you not to mention that, right?
Downtown was a project we did in Castlefield. Again, as I mentioned before, a lot of our projects were Manchester centric initially. So yeah, that's down the sort of south of the city centre on the water. Again, it's been a very good investment for a lot of people. 100% rented out as well. And then Oxygen, which is a building that we completed at the back end of last year. So that's been a project I've been working on for the years that I've been at Alliance, and it was great to finally walk around the building the back end of last year and see the amazing facilities. You can see on there, it's got a swimming pool.
It's a first-class development, isn't it, Oxygen? And I know we did really well with it, but for people that are on this who are looking for completed projects, I know a lot of people are, this is one maybe they can have a look at.
Yeah, I mean, we obviously it completed, as I said, in sort of back end of last year. We've got 4 or 5 units left available in there. To say that they're more tailored to people who might want to live in them themselves, really. I mean, they can obviously move in kind of tomorrow. The value, I guess, isn't there for the investor at this stage of a project right at the end of it. I think, and obviously the units that are left tend to be right at the top of the highest tower, which are the most expensive. So. But yeah, it's certainly something now. The last sort of 20% of that building has tended to be people who walk past the building. They've obviously gone in. They've also they wanted to buy properties for themselves, but also obviously you need to think of that from a rentals point of view as well. Alliance City Living have got an office in that building. Loads of people walking past the project, showing an interest in it. And before completion, we had 350 people who'd shown a very strong interest in renting a property in there. And within 6 weeks of that, I think we rented out 150 of 180 apartments that were up for rental, and obviously for the clients who were looking to get a return on their investment. So again, I mean, that's probably the most important point about that really, is that getting tenants in there as soon as it's complete, getting people living in there and earning money on your investment is obviously a very important part of the end of the process. So we've kind of touched on all of our services. Obviously, Holborn provide a lot of these services as well. Each building has its own sort of furniture packages that you can access. We've also got specific solicitors on each project. Makes it a lot easier. We can drive down the cost of solicitors if we have panel solicitors on each project, and also the whole process for clients, advisors, and everybody involved. The whole process of completing and exchanging contracts is very, very slick because of that, because they're so used to the project, they're so used to the same questions all the time, and it's not as if the solicitor's looking at something brand new. So I'm just going to talk about Preston now in a bit more detail, which is obviously the project that we're focusing on today. As I said, a lot of our projects in the past have been in the centre of Manchester, but they will continue to be. We've got one's coming up this year actually that we're going to launch in the centre of Manchester. But the thing with that now, and like many of the other cities in the UK, like Birmingham, Liverpool, is that the price point now in a lot of city centre locations isn't necessarily what investors want to put that amount of money into an investment. So, and also the returns aren't as high as they were maybe 5 years ago in the major cities. So we've started to look at other cities to give people to diversify their portfolio, but also a lower entry level to look at other investments. So Preston, don't know if I'm sure plenty of you have heard of it, plenty of you probably haven't heard of it, but in terms of where it is located in the UK, it's equidistant between Liverpool and Manchester. It became a city in 2002. It's gone from strength to strength since then. It's now the fastest growing city in the northwest of England. Here just gives you a bit of more of an idea of where it is, where it's situated on the map. And just gives you, shows you the location of obviously where it sits between the major cities.
There are some good stats as well, Nick, just to give you a breather that I saw coming out this week. Preston's actually got extraordinary good press at the moment for property growth. There's a lot going on there, which is driving people there, and as you say, commutable to other major cities.
Yeah, it is as well, and I'll touch on it in a little bit how sort of well connected it is. But if you look here, I mean, you can get to London within 2 hours at the moment. The HS2 is going to make that even shorter. You've got one of the largest bus terminals in the UK it's actually very close to the Exchange, our development there, that's just been completed there. You've got a tram system going in there, so all of the major ingredients to obviously connect to major cities, but also get all across the country in terms of for businesses and everything like that.
But also, if you go back that slide, the Lake District is probably the most beautiful part of the UK. And you know, for some people who are renting, it's nice to get in their car or their motorbike or cycle and get up to the Lake District, and it's not that far, is it? So London down, and then beautiful fresh air going up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, we've got several of our colleagues back in the UK who are actually live in Preston and commute into Manchester, and they obviously sing the praises of sort of at the weekends they get to spend their time in proper country, rural countryside up in that area. So yeah, it's got a bit more to offer than just being a city centre, I guess.
Yeah.
So just look at the sort of major statistics that have happened recently, and obviously the investment that's going into the city. I think if you look at the £430 million that's going in from the local government to develop the city and the surrounding areas, you've got lots of private commercial investment going into the area as well. You've probably all heard of UCLan University, which is one of the major employers in the area, but also obviously it's a very specialist university in the likes of defence, manufacturing, sort of aerospace, and the likes of your BAE Systems and those types of businesses pick up their graduates from that area. That's just had a £200 million revamp. And some of the buildings, when you actually, I went into Preston when I was back in the UK over Christmas to go and look at obviously how the site was coming along and also what's happening in the city. And some of the buildings that are now attached to the university are absolutely incredible, and certainly not what you would probably expect from that area of the world.
And this is important, especially with British Aerospace there. This is where the tenants are going to come from, isn't it? I mean, that's what people ask me all the time. Yeah. How quickly we rent out, what sort of people are going to live in there? Is it going to be students? And the answer to the last one is no, but it's usually executives that are working for these big British Airways space.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think there's lots of options of corporate lets. So, I mean, when you come to rent out using our lettings team, we'll be working with a lot of the major businesses in the area. It might be people who only want to live in the property for the week whilst they're at work. Then they might go back to wherever they live in the country. I think that's certainly where we're aiming to have some sort of high grade professionals staying in there. But also, I think you need to look at a statistic in the bottom left hand corner, which is 36% of the population in Preston are under 25. So they're the ones coming out of university, they may be on the first, second jobs, and perhaps they can't afford to get on the property ladder. But with the project that we've got here, it's an aspirational project in terms of it's got a gym, it's got facilities in there, it's somewhere where young people would want to live. And I think that's where like the one bed units in there, there's plenty of one beds in there, and that's where I think a lot of these sort of students that are just in their second or third jobs who can now afford a better place will move into it. And as we just touched on there, the fastest growing city in the northwest, and the rents are growing because of everything we've just spoken about. So also, I mean, this came sort of a bit of a surprise to me, is that the tech part of the workforce in Preston is changing as well. The landscape is changing, and that's moving away from maybe the traditional, more traditional sort of businesses that you would expect in that area. And again, young people are going to be in those jobs. It's going to attract young people to the area. People who come out of that university are then going to stay in that area because the job opportunities are there. That's what we've seen in Manchester. I mean, if you look at Manchester compared to 10, 15 years ago, I mean, the types of businesses that are now there that compared to what was once there, and the types of sort of the ages of people that now live in the centre of Manchester and work there because the opportunities are there is amazing. And that's why everyone, when I completed university, everyone got on a train to London and went and moved down there and got a job there. Whereas things are changing with obviously this Northern Powerhouse initiative spreading the wealth across the UK, and obviously Manchester's benefited from that, Birmingham's benefited, Liverpool has, and now you're seeing your sort of smaller cities like Preston gain success through it as well.
Can I also say there's some questions coming in, but please, I'm encouraging people to put questions in as we're going along, and so we can make it interactive. But yeah, thank you.
I can't. Do you want to answer those now or answer them at the end?
Chris? That's fine. No, carry on. I'm just encouraging people really to put questions in if anything's not quite clear. Okay, cool. So obviously, just leading on from the tech side of things, there's an announcement just at the back end of last year that there's going to be a £5 billion cyber warfare centre built in the region of Preston. This is going to bring thousands of new jobs to that area.
Obviously, a lot of commercial investment as well. There's already one of these down in, I think it's Cheltenham. That's the centre there, actually, on the picture. And I think that region's massively generated lots of revenue and obviously lots of interest in terms of commercial investment into the area because of this, and obviously lots of job opportunities as well. And as you said there, the increase for luxury accommodation with these people moving up to the area to work for that business.
Also bodes well, Nick, when people sell, because when they do want to sell in the medium to long term, then you've got those people that are coming up through the ranks, as it were, who want to buy them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you bang on with that, I'd say. Just what we're just touching on the £200 million campus there. There's 15,000 square foot of office space. This is obviously UCLan University. As I said, it's a very impressive place to walk around. I won't show you the video today, but I'm sure you can see it. But then, and also I think the Preston's got a student retention rate of 37%, which again, 37% of the people that go to that university are now staying and living in the city, which is a great statistic. It shows that they're not going to live there, one, if they don't like it, but two, if the opportunities aren't there. Yeah. Again, there's just some more statistics on there. It's the fifth largest university based on just the number of graduates taken in each year. And now it's 4 minutes away from our project, The Exchange. A few of the major employers there in Preston. BAE Systems is probably one of the main ones to focus on. We actually had my MD, Ronnie Garrett, was at a roundtable discussion yesterday in the local area, and BAE Systems were there, Lancashire County Council were there, and so all talking about all of this major investment going into the area and other future plans as well. So this is quite an interesting study done by the Coulters Index. So I'll go onto this table here to help explain it a little bit more. So what? Oh, sorry about that.
All right, just got a bit blue.
Yeah, no, there we go. So yeah, if you look at this study done by Coulters, it basically says that Preston is the most profitable area at the moment in the UK to be a landlord. Now, obviously 2.98% doesn't sound like a large yield or whatever, but you've got to take into account, that's taking into account all of your costs. That's your profit right at the end. So you're taking into account your mortgage, you're taking into account your service charge, any other costs that go along with the building. So you can see there, it's above Manchester, Liverpool's further down the list, Birmingham's further down the list. So at this point in time, you might think that Preston's not an established city, or maybe it's not the greatest place to invest into, but this gives you an idea. Even now, even ahead of the project being completed, you've already got a great rental market there, and having a project that's going to be pretty much one of the best 1 or 2 apartment blocks in the city once it's completed, then you're always going to be able to rent the property out. You're never going to have any problems finding tenants, but also you're going to be able to maximize your rental returns on it because of the quality of the building. And also all the mix of what we've got here is that there's a massive demand for it at the moment. And
the skill is being ahead of the curve, Nick, isn't it? I mean, look at Crossrail across London, look at HS2. It's not about, and we've got projects, Holborn, we've got projects in Manchester and Birmingham and London, etc. But this is, well, what I like about this and why it did so well, has done so well, is the price point, which of course you're going to leave to the last minute, aren't you?
Yeah, I'll touch on the price point later on. Yeah, so just a little bit more about where it's situated in the city centre. This image here is the Stonygate master plan, which is the revamp of the whole city centre of Preston. So that is pretty much the city centre of Preston. Our development here, the Exchange, sits at that point of the city centre. That's where the bus station is there, and then all of this is walkable within sort of 5-10 minutes of the site. So everything there is there's lots of commercial investment, there's lots of things like there's markets going in there, there's different shops and restaurants, hotels. So all of the key ingredients that you want to see when a city's going through a big transformation, and the Exchange sits at the heart of that. So just to touch on the other major sort of points we've mentioned, the key bits when making an investment is that obviously the rental market tends to be the younger population. You've got that mix there in Preston. You've got a decent rental yield across the city centre, with 5.7% existing rental yield there, the success that landlords are having. And then you've got a price forecast growth by Savills in the local area of 28.8% over the next 5 years. So that's obviously something that you want to be aiming for. You don't just want to earn money off your tenants and your income. You want to be, the capital appreciation is where you're probably going to make the most money over a 5 to 10 year period with an investment like this. So just to touch on the development itself, it's a brand new build development in Preston, which is very important actually. Lots of buildings you'll see, or options you can get nowadays, are revamps of commercial buildings. They can be problematic in terms of getting lending sometimes. So something that's built from scratch is something that most banks and lenders will always consider lending on, and it's not something that they see as much of a risk. And also in terms of as an investment, you want something that if it's brand new, you won't have to really touch it, hopefully, for at least the first 5-6 years, maybe when you might have to do a little bit of touching up inside. And along with that, you get warranty, you get a 10-year build warranty, and all 2-year appliance warranty with everything that is in the building. I think that something worth touching on here is the service charge in this building. It's got great facilities, but it's only £1.50 per square foot, which is so much cheaper than the other major cities.
Nick, a question's just come in, just with that image in front of us.
Yeah.
I know it's a long way before completion, Q3 2023, but where are you up to now? Is that a fair question?
Yeah, I can kind of show you a picture right at the end.
Oh.
So this.
Oh, no, sorry, wait to the end. It's fine.
It's all right. I've jumped onto it now. So this just gives you an idea of where the site. This was about, that image there was probably back in November time. We're up to about the 5th or 6th floor now on that. So construction's going very well. It should complete in July next year. So yeah, I mean, the only sort of resistance I had from clients when talking about the project in the middle of last year, I would say, was the fact that it was quite a long way away. But now it's sort of just over a year away. People can see it's moving on site, but also they know that they're going to start getting a return on their investment fairly soon. So just to show you a few of the images from the building, you can see just a few of the internals there. This is the roof terrace that's going to sit on top of block B, which is the middle block, and then you've got block A and block C either side. You're going to have a state-of-the-art gymnasium downstairs on the ground floor. And then there's going to be sort of a lobby communal area as you walk in, where the concierge is, which obviously people can sort of work from there, work from home, which, as we all know, is such a massive thing at the moment. I mean, I noticed even in Oxygen in December, the first few weeks of people moving into it, the amount of people sat in the lobby, just sitting there, using the Wi-Fi, working from home. There was a coffee machine in there, people were chatting. Like, it's almost like a little sort of hub, and yeah, helps create a sense of community, which again is important in terms of keeping tenants there for hopefully more than 1 year. You want to keep the same tenant hopefully for 2-3 years, and it makes your life a lot easier as a landlord. So all the major points here are just obviously the high street, the shopping quarter, the bus station, everything there is all within a walking distance, the university. And then the train stations on this side here, which is very large train station, connects to most of the country, and that's probably a 10-minute walk from the site. So where it is very well located. It's not like it's suburban. It's bang in the centre. So the interior is there, just as you'd expect from our buildings earlier on in the presentation. Very high-end finishes, which is what obviously you want to see. And then the amenities we've already just mentioned. Construction update, yeah, there's those photos. We've already covered that. I can give some more up-to-date images. We actually got one through yesterday. One of my colleagues was on site in the UK, sent one through. And we've also, on our YouTube channel, we've got sort of drone footage and on-site footage with some lovely music in the background showing the update from last month. So yeah, that's always handy to obviously show people who are potentially interested.
I think you sold that on the music. The old payment plans coming up, but I've just got a question that's coming up on mortgages, and I know you mentioned mortgages earlier on. And we do advise, encourage people to use the mortgage department, Holborn Mortgages, even at this early stage, just to get a decision in principle, just to get your name in front of them, and make sure that everything's okay. Okay, it's not going to stand if you get a mortgage offer now. In 18 months' time, things might change, but it does give you that peace of mind. So we do encourage everyone to do that. Did a mortgage. We got one of our colleagues just phoned me just before this show and said that he got a mortgage for his client, or we got a mortgage for his client who's buying 4.25%. The client is based in Zimbabwe. So that is really good news. We quote between 3.8 up to about 4.5. So, 4% is good. We know that rates are going to maybe go up, so it's good to get it locked in. But yeah, and 65%. Presentation screen said completion 03/23, but is that now July 23? Nick from Kieran.
Q3/23, I think. No, you said Q3/23, but no, July 23 is the
estimated. Okay, all right. So mortgage is 65%, rates about 4, and we've got an excellent mortgage department, and that's my advert. So you can scroll down again. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah. So yeah, just to go back to the completion, it's scheduled for the 31st of July 2023. That's the build program at the moment. The long stop date is the 31st of January 2024. So the long stop date that's in the contract is basically that if it does get delayed, that's the long stop date that the when you sign on the contract and buy a property, offers on this, that's when it has to be completed by, or you can obviously get your money back if we don't hit that target. So I would imagine that obviously it's going to be within that area in terms of completion, but as it stands today, yeah, July is what it's scheduled for. So payment plan, as with those properties that Holborn work on, it's 5% reservation fee, £5,000 reservation fee, sorry. And when you select your unit, you sign a reservation form, and then we take that unit off the market. Within 2 to 3 working days, we'll introduce you to our solicitors. As part of sort of a promotion on this, we'll do £1,000 deduction from the property value if you use our panel solicitors that we provide you. So that's obviously an incentive there to obviously for the client to potentially take advantage of. It's a 25% deposit on the exchange, and then minus the £5,000 reservation fee. Your client then would exchange contracts on that basis, and then there's nothing then due until further down the line. Now, obviously upon completion. So what Chris was talking about there is our back end service, and obviously the service that Holborn provide in terms of the mortgage consultation. About 3 to 6 months away from completion, our after sales team will be in touch with your client, with the advisor, to say, right, the project's now coming to completion. Have you got your money ready in terms of, are you going to pay cash? Are you going to pay mortgage? Would you want some help with introducing you to mortgage providers? Obviously, you guys at Holborn have got that as well, but also we'll then start talking to you about, do you want to let the property out? The answer is obviously going to be yes, and then we'll start searching for tenants probably 3 months out, a bit like what we were saying with Oxygen before, that obviously when the building's there and we've got a site office on site, then you've got the opportunity of people coming by, showing an interest and building up a bank of interest that once the property's finished and the snagging's been done, then hopefully someone can move in straight away. And
Nick, a question's come in, Nick, on the furnishing. You've got to assume, like all the white goods that were in those photographs earlier on, they come as standard. Furniture packs, what do you advise?
So furniture pack, how do you mean? Would I advise to get one, or
yeah?
How?
Somebody's asked, would they come with a furniture pack? Should they have to buy them themselves? How does that work?
They don't have to buy the furniture pack. I mean, the furniture pack really are in place for international investors, I'd say. I mean, if you haven't got anyone on the ground near the site who can go and obviously furnish the property from IKEA or do a favour for you, or if you're in the UK every now and again, I suppose you could do it. But yeah, it's there for ease really. The furniture packages will make it more rentable. It fills the apartment with everything that you would need to move into. So it is a worthwhile investment, but yeah, it's down to the client really whether they want to take that on.
And cost about 3,000. Am I about right there?
Yeah, for a 1-bed it's probably about 2,000. For a 2-bed it's probably about 3,000 to 3,500, depending on which package you choose and how sort of well furnished you want it, or how much stuff you want in there for the tenant. But I certainly, personally, I wouldn't be going mad on a furniture package and spending lots of money on it. I think that most people who move into a property are going to have quite a bit of their own stuff. I think if you've got the basics of a bed and a sofa and the main things that make something livable, then I think that's all you need really, in my opinion.
Okay, thanks.
So yeah, that's pretty much everything on the exchange. Is there any further questions?
I don't think we saw price point, did we? Did you put that up? Did I sleep?
No, I don't think we haven't got it.
Well, anyway, so please write with a self-addressed envelope to give us the prices.
I'll talk to you about prices. So the prices of 1-bed start at £130,000. So 25% deposit on that. So you're looking at sort of £30,000 deposit, and then your 2-beds start at £200,000. Now, I think the main investment units you'd be looking at, or investor clients would be looking at, is probably they probably sit between 130 for 1-beds to 145, 150, that sort of area. There's higher priced 1-beds than that, but I wouldn't really touch upon those. They're probably higher up the building and probably more suited to people who are going to live in them themselves. And the 2-bed investor units, again, they start at 200 and probably range 200 to 215. They're going to be the sort of key ones to look at. And in terms of a rental yield, the average across the whole development is 6.5%. I think we've sold 115 of the 200 units now. So there's still great options available. I can obviously help pick the highest yield.
I was going to say that, Nick. You are always on hand, and you are the expert when it comes to actually looking at floor plans, because people say, I don't want to be near the garbage room, I don't want to be near the lift. But you can talk people through what floor, what view, and make it. The other thing, which is really, really important, that you've got cash flows for each and every one of these, and they're tailor-made to what somebody's circumstances are. So if they want a mortgage of, let's just say 65%, then you could tailor it that way, and it includes the stamp duty and the solicitor's fees and valuation fees. So each one of those is available, which I think is so important.
Yeah, and I think the key thing to look at as well, obviously aside from everything else, and you go back to that profit slide of being the most profitable place to be a landlord, is that 6.5% yield gives you lots of money to play with in terms of once you've paid your service charge and management fee out and everything else, you're probably looking at 5.5% net, but your mortgage is probably going to be what you know more than me, Chris, with probably 3.5%. So there's going to be profit there to utilize. Obviously, either put back into the property in the future, or obviously take or save up and potentially buy another property. But yeah, I think when you're looking at other locations, you've probably not got that at the moment. You're looking at yields that just about cover the mortgage. So I think that's an attractive point from Preston. It's a self-serving investment. It's not something you're going to have to get involved with too much. You can pretty much leave it there, I would say, for the first 5 years, have a tenant in it, and it sort of pays for everything, and obviously gives a decent sum on top.
Yeah, no, it's very good. And when you actually break down the figures, so let's just use 140,000, and you're going to put your 25% down. You're in for an investment for sort of 40,000 pounds. And the other thing I always like to tell people, and people always ask, well, what do the extras cost? What does the valuation, the stamp duty, all those other little niggly bits that add on? And I say, people, honestly, if you use the figure of 8%, you're not going to be far off. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's all dependent on circumstances, isn't it? And how many properties somebody's got. I mean, stamp duty is the biggest killer in terms of that. But yeah, it's all down to that. But when you're buying lower priced property, yeah, like if it's someone's first property in the UK, for example, and it's a 1-bed in Preston, I mean, the stamp duty is sort of fairly negligible, really, in terms of what it's going to actually cost them. It's not like if you buy a 300,000, 400,000 pound 2-bed in the centre of Manchester, your stamp duty starts going through those bandings fairly rapidly. So it's again, yeah, it's less money to be chucking at it on day one.
I think it's a great investment. I think Preston's a great story. I was born in Blackburn, which is not that far away, and I knew Preston all those years ago. But it's certainly changed from, obviously I'm in my early 40s, but over the last 40 years, it's changed a lot. And it's a great investment story, and I keep seeing it come up. And I think that's so I've got a first-time buyer. Hang on, I've got a question here. First-time buyers can buy up to 300,000 with no stamp duty. They
can do but international investors still have to pay stamp duty.
Yeah.
Not first-time buyers if it's your first property in the UK, yeah, you can claim that it's your primary residence. But I mean, yeah, if it's an international investor, they have to pay stamp duty, whatever.
Absolutely, and as I say, I go back to the cash flows. We put a lot of effort into making sure that they're accurate. Yeah, okay. What else we got? What is the literature going on Holborn property? Well, what is the literature going on property portal? I think that means when. From Mr. Anonymous. Yeah, we'll get it on there, but the recording is going to be available. And Jamie's always available. I'm always available. Got nothing else to do. So please use your wealth manager, and we can get all the information and others. Anything? What's on the horizon, Nick? Anything from Alliance?
Yeah, we've got. It's very busy at the moment in terms of planning for what we've got coming up. I think we've got a major one that's been in the press that we're building in the centre of Manchester on Deansgate. That's got a hotel attached to it. It's on the old Renaissance Hotel site. That's coming in the middle of the year. Hopefully, something else in Manchester as well. We're also looking in Birmingham to potentially, again, maybe a suburban area of Birmingham. And we've also got our first scheme in London actually in the next 2 weeks, which is a sort of 28-unit scheme in Clapham. Completes this year, so that's something that we're going to launch by probably the end of February. So yeah, there's lots of things always going on, and
that's good. Thank you very much. That was excellent, Nick. Thank you very much. This will be on the Holborn Assets property website. Somebody asked us a question, where can I see this? It will be on the Holborn Assets property website under events. You click on it, and previous webinars come up there as well. So if you want to binge watch previous webinars, then please do. I've just heard the doorbell go, so I think that is Prince William. He's too late for the webinar, so I'll tell him to sit and wait. Thank you. Any other questions, let us know. Thank you, Nick, from a girl called Jamie. So yeah, that's good. Anybody want anything, let us know. Always here. Nick, excellent. Miltos, thank you. Miltos, oh, hang on, Kapil's raised his hand. Thank you, Employee of the Year. So thank you very much, everybody. Same again next week. Sorry, Nick.
Yeah, Chris, just from my side, thanks everyone. And as Chris said, I mean, if anyone wants to follow up or wants to have a one-to-one Zoom on this and talk about the project and go through floor plans, look at the best available sort of units that are going to yield the best yields at the moment, just send an email to me after this, get in touch, and we'll organise it in the next week or so. I'm more than happy to help out with that. Also talk through and chat through any concerns clients have or questions they have. So yeah, just always reach out. I'm here, and yeah, hopefully we'll work together soon.
Jamie Scott said thank you. It was a real eye opener on Preston. So I think that's good, Nick. We might invite you back after that. Questions are coming in now. Just as I'm trying to round up. There we go. Hang on. Oh, no, that's it. Thank you. Oh, just thank yous. All right, everybody, I better get back to Prince William. Enjoy. Thank you very much, Nick.
Cheers.
Thank you, Miltos Marketing. Get it on the website as soon as possible.
See you later.
And see you. Thanks a lot, Nick.
Cheers.
Bye-bye,
Thank you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Kieran.